In this video, we're going to break down several texting behaviors that quietly kill attraction and why they have that effect. You'll learn why texting often acts like a stress test for confidence, why women subconsciously read the rhythm of your messages as a reflection of your life, and why certain texting habits cause emotional investment to appear too fast. By the end of this video, you will understand something most men never realize. Women are not just reacting to your texts, they're reacting to the mindset those texts reveal. Jessica OS here. Welcome to the channel. Texting is a stress test for confidence. Texting introduces one thing into every interaction that many people struggle with: uncertainty. Messages arrive at unpredictable times. Conversations pause, responses vary in length, and sometimes the energy changes without explanation. That uncertainty creates a small emotional pressure, and pressure basically reveals how someone thinks. Imagine a simple scenario. You send a message and the woman replies an hour later instead of 10 minutes later, or immediately. And for some guys, that delay instantly creates some tension. They begin wondering if they said something wrong or if her interest has generally just dropped. Soon, they send another message to restart the conversation, or they clarify something that they said earlier. Or maybe they even try to fill the silence with more texting. From the guy's perspective, he's simply keeping the conversation alive, correct? From her perspective, something else becomes visible. She begins to see how he behaves when the interaction is no longer fully under his control. You see, a confident man assumes that she has a life. He continues with his day. The conversation resumes naturally later. But a man who feels pressure to stabilize the interaction reveals something completely different. What he does is he reveals that the uncertainty is affecting him emotionally. And that difference matters more than most men realize. You see, texting is not just communication. It's often a stress test for how comfortable someone is with ambiguity. Women are extremely sensitive to that difference, even when we can't explain why. Your texting rhythm reveals the structure of your life. Now, another hidden dynamic most men never consider is that women are not only reading your words, we're reading the rhythm of your attention. Let me explain. You see, your texting behavior quietly paints a picture of what your life looks like. Now, if you're a guy who responds instantly to every message throughout the entire day and whenever I message you, the impression it creates is not necessarily enthusiasm. Sometimes that impression is that, your attention is constantly available to me. Human beings naturally assign value to things that appear limited. When attention feels scarce, it feels meaningful. When it feels unlimited, on the other hand, guess what it feels like? It quickly becomes ordinary. Now, texting patterns begin to tell a story. Does this man seem busy with his work, friends, responsibilities, and interests? Or does it appear that his main focus throughout the day is this conversation we're having right now? Women rarely analyze this consciously, but we feel it. The rhythm of your texting can make it appear as though your life has momentum, or perhaps it can appear the opposite, as though your attention is waiting to be used. Confident men don't try to manufacture mystery or play games. The difference is simply that their lives naturally contain other priorities. Their communication reflects that. Sometimes they'll reply quickly, sometimes later in the day. But the interaction never feels like their entire world is just sitting inside the phone. And that difference subtly creates and increases perceived value, the interview mode conversation. Another texting pattern that quietly drains attraction is turning the conversation into an interview. Many men believe that they're doing the right thing by asking lots of questions. They think it shows interest and keeps the conversation going. But when every message is a question, the interaction starts feeling like an interrogation rather than a connection. Think about how interviews feel. One person asks questions, the other person answers. It's as simple as that. But the conversation becomes so structured and almost predictable. Attraction does not grow in predictable conversations. It grows in emotional ones. As women, we respond far more strongly to conversations that contain personality, humor, playful observations, and curiosity. So instead of constantly asking questions, confident communicators mix statements, assumptions, perspectives into the conversation. So for example, instead of asking, let's say, what she likes to do on weekends, a man might say something observational. He might say something like, she seems like the type of person who enjoys quiet weekends, but occasionally does something spontaneous. Now the conversation will have some form of energy. she'll want to respond to that. The difference between an interview and an engaging interaction is emotional movement. When the conversation feels alive rather than structured, attraction has room to grow. The emotional energy gap. So every interaction contains an invisible level of emotional energy. Sometimes both people are equally engaged. Sometimes one person is slightly more invested than the other. Attraction tends to grow when emotional investment increases gradually on both sides. But when one person accelerates that investment a bit too quickly, the dynamic will quickly shift. Texting makes this imbalance extremely visible. Now, I want you to imagine a situation where a woman sends a short message about basically enjoying a date. Okay. Then the guy responds with several paragraphs explaining how much he likes her, how special the connection felt, how excited he is to see her again. The message may be sincere, but the emotional intensity suddenly jumps ahead of where the interaction naturally was. And at that moment, the emotional energy gap will widen. You see, when emotional investment appears too quickly, curiosity will disappear. The interaction becomes emotionally resolved before it's had time to develop naturally. Mystery plays a powerful role in attraction. When everything someone feels is revealed immediately, there's nothing left for curiosity to explore. And that's why confident men tend to pace emotional energy rather than releasing it all at once. They allow attraction to build gradually instead of accelerating it through long, heavy messages. Look, if this video is making you rethink the way you text, take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. On this channel, we talk about the psychology behind attraction in relationships so you can understand what is really happening below the surface. The routine texting trap. Another mistake that quietly weakens attraction is routine texting too early. Messages like good morning, good night, and constant daily check-ins can seem thoughtful, but when they appear before a real emotional connection is formed, they often create the wrong dynamic. You see, routine creates predictability, and predictability completely removes anticipation. And anticipation is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. You see, when communication becomes automatic and scheduled, the interaction starts feeling like maintenance rather than discovery. Confident men usually avoid establishing daily routines too quickly, you see. So instead, their messages appear when there is actually something interesting to say or when they're moving the interaction towards seeing each other again. Their communication style feels intentional rather than habitual, and that difference keeps curiosity alive. You see, here's the deeper truth that kind of ties everything I've said together. Most men believe texting should create comfort. They try to be consistent, attentive, and reassuring because they think those qualities build attraction. But you see, attraction in the early stages is rarely driven by comfort. Attraction is driven by curiosity. And curiosity is what makes someone want to open the next message. Curiosity is what makes someone think about the interaction later. Curiosity keeps emotional tension alive between two people who are still discovering and learning about each other. When texting becomes predictable, routine, or emotionally heavy too quickly, that curiosity will disappear. And when it disappears, attraction often fades along with it. Confident men understand this intuitively. They don't try to build the entire connection through texting. Their messages feel like small windows into their life rather than the main event. A quick observation, a playful comment, a moment that sparks some kind of interest, something that makes the other person want to see them again. So I guess if you take one idea from this video, this is what I'd like you to remember. Women aren't just reacting to what you text. We're reacting to the mindset your texting reveals.